Hey, everybody, GameHounds podcast. We are here. Hi. So you will notice that I have a slightly different background and camera angle. You are now seeing actually more than just from here up. You're actually getting the full body experience of the Edie, but also you
Mm.
are getting a different headset and a different background. And there is a very good reason why. So we will get into it, but first I want to play the intro music. Hi, Nick. By the way, we're here with
Hi,
Nick
hi,
as
yes.
usual. Yeah.
She's been teasing me with that information too, refusing to tell me why she moved rooms. So I'm waiting to get to this, but it's always no, we're gonna do this.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
wait
do
until
this.
wait until the show. Wait until the show. Don't do the show before the show. That's
You're
always what
you're
I say.
burying the lead. What
I
happened
am
to the
not.
cover story?
I am building tension.
Uh-huh.
All right. So let's hit the intro music, and
Okay.
then we will tell you all about it.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 772. We are recording this on Sunday. What is it? February 2nd,
Yes.
2025. February 2nd, 2025. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola. I'm hoping I've got the music now low enough that I'm not being clipped by my own music.
You do not sound like it.
Oh,
Not
good.
from my end, not from here.
Good. That's excellent to know. So, all right. So I teased that we have, and if you're listening to this on the podcast and not on the video stream, not watching us on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook, you will not know that I have an entirely different background. You may notice that the sound of the mic is slightly different. It is
Although
on a different headset.
I'm gonna interrupt you so we can delay and tease this even more.
Yes.
We need to choose.
Oh, the soda, the big choice of soda. So once again, this is Lester's Fixins bonus pack of disgusting sodas. We have a
Got
choice
ranch,
today of, was it ranch dressing?
pickle, and bacon.
Ranch dressing, pickle juice, or just pickle soda?
Just pickle soda.
Pickle flavored soda, ranch dressing flavored soda, and
And
bacon
bacon.
flavored soda. Anybody in
Now,
the chat room? Okay,
they
we
don't.
need the opinions from the chat room on this one.
Okay, they don't. Previous drinks have not tasted like what they say.
Yeah, they've tasted pretty good. I'm waiting for AC Wraith to show up. I'm surprised AC Wraith isn't here.
Yeah, where AC Wraith? Are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, he's usually like the first one in, so and nobody else is, and that making me wonder if something's. I mean, we're live. I could see we're live. I could see that there is a chat room, but I am not seeing chatters, so I may have to vote.
Go for it.
I don't know. Pickle sounds really bad. Ranch sounds. I don't even know what you could. Hey, there's
Hey, there
AC
he is.
Wraith. I don't even know if you could. Like, I can't imagine what ranch flavored soda might be. Bacon flavored soda, I can kind of visualize. Pickle flavored soda, I could visualize. Ranch dressing flavored soda?
Is
Not
that your
so much.
choice then?
AC Wraith, do you have an opinion on this, or anybody else in the chat room? Oh, he was working on his blue sky post. That's why he wasn't in. Thank you. Anybody want to have so we have a choice of bacon, pickle, or ranch dressing flavored soda. Good old Lester's Fixins. My vote is ranch dressing.
Okay. Got at least one for ranch.
Yeah.
I will open it slow unless I see.
Yeah, anybody else object to ranch dressing flavors? I was tempted for bacon because if we did bacon, wait, if we did bacon and it didn't taste like at all like bacon, we would absolutely know that it is just the labels,
Mhm.
not the soda. Ah, all right, he's opening it. All right, it's ranch. Ranch it is. All right, ranch flavored soda. It looks white and milky, not terribly milky, but like slightly opaque. And the opinion is Nick looks confused. He's
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. He's not sure what he just tasted. Okay, does
It's
it
not.
taste like ranch dressing?
As someone who has eaten ranch dressing maybe once in his life.
Really?
Oh, I don't like ranch.
Oh my God, ranch dressing. You could
No.
pump that into my veins, seriously. But
Oh,
bad ranch dressing is the worst. Good ranch dressing, when it's fresh and made with real buttermilk, I would bathe in that.
yeah, no, it doesn't taste like ranch. It doesn't taste bad. I taste carbonation. That's the confusing part.
You
It
taste carbonation?
the carbonation is like so strong and like the bubbles are so fizzy that it kind of hides the flavor.
Hmm.
But what flavor it is kind of there's a sweetness to it. It's one of the sweet ones. It's not like the goddamn mustard that tasted like flat mangoes.
Flangos, as I recall, we dubbed them.
Okay, there's
Second taste says
maybe just because it's white, I want to say vanilla, but that could just be, psychology of a white drink that's sweet. I think vanilla.
yeah. So maybe a cream soda? A white cream soda?
Ooh, yes, it does taste like a cream soda.
Mhm.
That's it.
Okay. So it's not
Mm.
ranch. So it's almost now guaranteed that the sodas themselves are not actually flavored. It's
That's so
the
much better.
labels.
Hmm.
So it's
But
a
it's
white cream
interesting.
soda.
But it's interesting to see what the actual flavor is
Right.
because the mustard one was not good. It was not a good soda. This is growing on me. I actually like this one.
Okay, good. All right. So
Okay, so yes, let's
different
tease. We've
background,
teased
different headset.
enough.
So, if you will recall last week, we had an issue with my audio that it would occasionally you have like 2 years of um, my audio is occasionally disappearing,
Hmm.
and I was saying, "It's not my headset. It's not it must be StreamYard." Well, I had a Zoom meeting for my neighborhood, council on Wednesday. And guess what happened during the neighborhood council on Zoom? Same thing kept happening. So my laptop has been acting strangely. It is my work laptop. It has been acting strangely for a little while now. And so I think that there may be something wrong with the laptop itself.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe it keeps on forgetting that I have set a PIN and asking me for my password to get into it. Um, it keeps like s- it keeps having it like it loses connection to the mouse, like it has to really think sometimes about where the mouse is. I have a distinct feeling there's something broken in its brain. And probably needs to be flashed and there's something done to it. So this week I ordered rather than going and getting like I tend to buy used or refurbished computers from Dell for work because I'm a skinflint.
I mean, it's also work.
Right.
They should. Your work should get the hand me downs. You get the top of the line stuff.
Right. Right. Well, this time I decided to actually get a new laptop. Interestingly enough, oddly enough, so Dell's top of the line workplace laptop, like desktop replacement laptop, is $2,500.
Okay.
Dell's not quite so top of the line Alienware laptop is $1,200.
Hmm.
They are identical in all ways. Same
Really?
chips. The hard drive on the Alienware is bigger and it's got a better graphics card
Huh.
and it is half the price. So, I mean, you can get a bigger Alienware computer that's even better, but it's the top of the line workplace. It will run anything you want. Um, it will run Photoshop. It will run any kind of Adobe stuff. You can have multiple stuff open. You can have multiple displays. It's never going to have a problem with running anything that you have on work for work. And it is essentially the middle of the line Alienware, dumb with slightly fewer bells and whistles, and it's twice the price.
That's surprising.
So I am getting an new Alienware computer laptop for my work. Conveniently enough, it will also run games.
I'm sure it's just a convenient coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AC Ray says, even if I upgrade my CPU to the latest model, my motherboard supports it won't be supported by Windows 11. Windows 10 support ends in October. Oh, that's right. Oh, man. I do not like Windows 11.
I haven't
do
seen
not
it. I
like
think I'm still on 10.
Oh, 10 is so much better. I just don't know why. It's just
Yeah,
annoying.
I've liked 10 so far. I haven't had any issues with it.
Yeah, well, the support for it ends in October, which means that everybody is going to have to upgrade to 11 in October, because at least at my work, because it's not supported, so it's not secure.
Hey,
Yeah, good timing with the tariffs too. I know, because hey, if you need to buy car parts, electronics, if you need to go to Walmart and buy plastic tat, buy it now, because it's about to get motherfucking expensive. And it kills me because I haven't got my apartment yet, and I'm going to have to buy furniture, and it's going to cost me a fortune. So I may just, like not have furniture for a little while. We'll see.
I mean, look, the rats have already eaten through the legs of all your couch. The cushions are covered with layers of plaster and sawdust.
After all the years of playing video games with my ass on that couch in exactly the same place for as many as 16 hours a day, not every day, but it has had my ass on the couch for 16 hours. That couch is so broken down. It is so busted out.
Okay, it's already gone. That couch was already trash.
I am going to have to get a new couch, period. The end. That's just a thing. Actually, there is a couch downstairs. It's a very nice couch. I could actually take that couch.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a whole other giant dog playground for the win. What do you mean? Where's this?
Dog playground for the
win.
No, for the couch?
The couch being
for
a giant. Yeah, it is.
Apartment?
It is a giant dog playground. Yeah.
Okay.
My current couch. Oh yeah, it is. It is definitely where the
empty
dogs
house
most of the times. Oh, the empty house, perfect for running around. Yeah, that's true. They will love that.
Oh yeah, your house right now.
Well, my house right now is not a dog playground because it's all covered with rat traps.
No, I meant where you are right now.
Oh yes, where I am right now. There is nobody home. This is going to be a relatively short show because there's nobody home. I have been cat sitting. In fact, I have both cats right here. So anyway, going back, my background is different. I am now in a different room in the house. I am actually in the bedroom with my gaming headset. because apparently there is something wrong with the laptop. So, and I don't have any other computer here at Shea Boy.
Mhm.
So, I had to use his. I could have used the computer in the office, but it is a combination of his computer and his work computer with Crystal Dynamics, and there's no way I'm touching that thing.
Mm.
Nope.
Well,
Not with my
thankfully,
history of breaking things just by being in their presence. I'm coming nowhere near that laptop or
well,
that computer.
thankfully, and this is a plug for StreamYard, since it's all done through the browser and online. It's not like you have to download anything to the other
Yep.
computer, worry about keys being transferred for the software use. It's not just log onto the website. You can do it from any computer. So
Right.
that actually worked out well.
Right. So his setup is that he has a high-powered gaming PC that he built for himself. And then his screen is actually not a screen. It is an OLED television.
Hmm.
So I have got a massive TV
How
right
does
in
that
front
feel
of
on
me.
your eyes, like sitting that close to the TV? I was told
It's
that would
hard.
make me go blind.
I know. The first thing I thought when I saw that is that's what Chris has something like a 72-inch screen. It's like most of his wall, and that's what he does his work in front of. And it's like, this is bad for your eyes. It takes a little while. I mean, there's a reason why I'm sitting back is because I want to have that space. But because it's such a big screen, the camera is way up there.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking straight. I mean, I could look straight at you like this, but then I wouldn't be able to actually see the screen down there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this is why I look the way I look. This is why you're getting, most full body Edie. It's because you have this camera that is not my camera, and I don't want to mess with it. But yeah, very close to getting an apartment. Looked at one that's literally down the street from you. Looked at two. One of them is like I could walk to your house. It's 3 blocks away.
Okay.
The other one
Cool.
is just on the other side of the freeway off of Hillsdale.
Okay. Cool.
I don't like the one I don't think I'm going to take the one it's on the other side of Roblox from you. On El Camino.
Okay.
Other
Other side of El Camino?
Right.
Other side of the tracks?
Literally the other side of the tracks. But it would be really nice because it's walking distance to the Caltrain station for commutes. But
yeah,
it's just for the price that they're charging. It's just
no,
not
worth it.
And then the one across the freeway, which isn't walking distance to the Caltrain station, but I would probably get a scooter, like a motor, not an actual scooter, not my electric scooter, but like an actual gas scooter. And I would probably take it to Caltrain.
Okay. Yeah.
And
that's not a
like
long
a 3-minute, 4-minute drive. So it's fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like that place and I really should jump on it right now, but it's just a little bit more expensive than I really want to spend. Just like if it was $100 less, I would probably jump on it.
Can you negotiate? Like, hey.
No,
I've got dogs. They'll increase the price for sure.
Yeah, no, the dogs definitely. The dogs increase. There's a thing. I don't know if it's universal, but in California, there's a thing called pet rent.
Yes.
Yeah, that they charge you per pet, which is bullshit. They should not charge you per pet. But it's anywhere. I've seen pet rent all the way from $50 a month per pet to $100 per month per pet, which is
ours not
obscene.
That, which is good.
No. What is your pet rent? It's something like 65, but then
I think it's like about 55, 60, about that.
Yeah, that's
except we only pay for one.
Right, because Rachel's no joke with negotiation.
Yeah. And there was like an incident where like people came in to paint the door, but they left the door open. And so it's like, wait, we have pets. They could have gotten out, but also you left everyone else's doors on the floor open. So you just go around opening the doors of all the apartments, leaving them open. And so to compensate, they took off the pet fee for one of the pets. And it's still off. It was meant to be for 1 year. This happened over a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm very tempted to take that one that's a little bit it's like a little townhouse.
Nice.
But the thing is I haven't seen it. That's the other thing is when you're talking about some of these complexes, they're like, "Well, we don't have it available to view." It's like, "Well, I'm not moving into anything I can't view."
Yeah, no, that's bullshit. You have to see it.
Right. Right. And I'm happy to put a deposit down to reserve it if you need to, but that being said, I'm not renting anything that I haven't seen with my own 2 eyes and been inside. Video is nice, but it won't do it. So, we'll see. Anyway, games. Let's
Playing,
talk
yeah.
games. What are you playing?
I've finished Metaphor. I finished Metaphor
We talked about
last
that last
week.
week. Yeah.
It's done. A
Yeah.
weight has been lifted from my shoulders. I could play anything.
And what did
The
you play?
world was my oyster. So there's actually a lot coming out recently in the past couple weeks and in the not too distant future that I would like to play.
Mhm.
So I did something that I don't usually do in order to stop myself from getting like laser focused on one game, like with Metaphor. But that was the only game I played for several months. It's like, no, I don't. I want to get out of that. So I pre-ordered a whole bunch of games.
Mhm.
I pre-ordered a bunch of indie games, most of which are out now, and I've been playing some of those. But I also pre-ordered a bunch of upcoming AAA games that I will probably not have finished the indie games and everything before they come out. But you
Yeah.
know what? I want to pre-order them and buy them now so that when they come out, I have an incentive to go play that as opposed to just kind of getting stuck in the same thing over and over again. So I pre-ordered Kingdom Come, obviously. Claire Obscura Expedition 33, obviously, because I've been talking about how excited I am about that. And
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed Shadows. Because everything I've heard about that sounds really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I also kind of just want to fuck the trolls.
Mhm.
But what I played this week.
Well, if I really hated you, you know what I would do right now? And because I'm so angry at Ubisoft,
What?
I would go get the collector's edition for
Look, you can still get the
for
collector's
Assassin's
edition.
Creed
That's
Shadows.
fine.
Yeah,
It's not going to hurt me.
if I did, you know what would happen to that game? It would be absolute ass.
Hey,
I am a perfect
that's
sport at
fine.
this point.
That's like it wouldn't be punishing me. I have other things to play.
Yeah, true.
But what I ended up playing this week is
Mhm.
a game called Ender Magnolias.
Okay.
And there's a subtitle that's like Bloom and Mist or something, but whatever. It's Ender Magnolias. This is a sequel to Ender Lilies, which was kind of a Souls-like Metroidvania that came out several years ago that I kind of picked up on a whim because a YouTuber really enjoyed it and had a lot of praise for it. It ended up being a shockingly good game. And so I just kind of stumbled across this sequel. I was just kind of looking at the PlayStation store and seeing what is new. And there's a sequel coming out like in a week that I had not heard of.
Mhm.
So bought it, downloaded it, started playing. And I'm happy to say it's also just a really, really good game that kind of keeps growing on me the more I play. What's interesting about its style, Ender Lilies, I honestly could not tell you what that game was about. It had like an okay presentation for the story, but it just kind of a lot of proper nouns, a lot of, fantasy mumbo jumbo. And in retrospect, I couldn't tell you what was going on. But it was a typical dark fantasy setting. This is more like a sci-fi dark fantasy or like a dark sci-fi where instead of dealing with, spirits and ghosts, I'm dealing with homunculi that are brought to life with magic. There's like a sorcerer's school that's overrun or something that I had to go into and like clear out. But it's an interesting setting, just a very different setting for this type of game. But what's cool is that it plays like a Metroidvania in that you go around In the beginning, you'll encounter some doors and stuff that you can't open, and you have to wait until you get a different power. Maybe you have to wait till you get a double jump. Maybe you have to wait until you get the ability to dash, the ability to hang onto walls so that you can kind of jump up vertical surfaces. The typical Metroidvania thing. The typical Metroidvania thing that I usually hate. But in this case, I think it works well because there's not a whole lot of it.
Mhm.
There's not a whole lot of, oh, you encounter something you can't get past until you get a new power. Generally speaking, you'll encounter like one or two things that you can't do. But if you see something that you can't do, if you see like, oh, there's a door here that I'm going to have to smash through, I can't do that yet. Usually, though, you'll get that ability pretty soon. And so when you start seeing more of these roadblocks thrown up, I know, oh, I'm going to get that power soon.
Right.
Oh, I see two of these unblockable doors, two of these like unopenable doors in a row. I'm going to get that power soon. And so it doesn't do the thing that always frustrates me of like I'm trying to explore an area and I just keep getting hit with roadblocks. And that's what has always frustrated me about Metroidvanias is because I don't like hitting those roadblocks. But in this one, it feels like the world is well designed to not evoke that feeling. That it never presents you with too many things that you can't do. What's also nice is it's structured like a Souls-like game. So what I mean by that is it's very much kind of designed linearly. Souls games, they're usually kind of open world, but they have a path. You're going to start in one area, you're going to fight your way through it, and then you're going to fight a boss, and that's going to link you to another area that you're going to fight. Then you're going to fight a boss, go to another area. It's all like very hub centric. And that's what this game is like. So, and I think that helps feed into the kind of anti Metroidvania design of its world because I go through one area and then I fight a boss. And it's like, okay, that area is mostly complete. Maybe I will come back here when I get a new power for something, but like I'm pretty much done with that area. I'm not going to return to it. And so there's a constant stream of like new things to explore. And it's not a lot of backtracking, which again is something a lot of Metroidvanias do, is the backtracking. The ability to move around in this game is very, very easy. You can fast travel from any point. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown came out early last year.
Mhm.
And one of the things I really didn't like about it was that you could only fast travel from and to certain points.
Right.
So that means if I'm standing in a room and I want to go over there, first I have to run to a fast travel point, then fast travel to a different point, then run from there to my actual destination. In this game, you can fast travel from anywhere. So if I want to go to a room over there and I'm over here, I can just immediately fast travel to that fast travel point there, and the journey is a lot faster. And it's just,
Mhm.
it's a little quality of life thing that
Well,
makes navigation so much easier.
it's the difference between true fast travel and like Portal. If you, the way you describe it, when you have to go somewhere to Portal somewhere else, and then continue wherever you need to go from there. Yeah, that's not true fast travel. It's kind of just a portal.
Yeah, just go a little jump from point A to point B.
Right.
Um,
A
and yeah,
defined point A to a defined point B.
yes. So couple all that with combat that just feels really, really good.
It looks good. That combat looks amazing.
What's neat about it is you play has someone called an attuner, which is you can attune with homunculi. Again, I couldn't really tell you what it's about, but I'm enjoying exploring the world, and that's the more important thing.
Right.
So yes, all your attacks are not your character, they are the homunculi that you tune with. So if you look at this video, you can see that there's a lady with an axe.
Mhm.
That's basically your basic attack.
Mhm.
You have this guy shooting guns, and that's your R1 attack. You have another attack that's triangle, another one that's circle, and you can kind of mix and match them. So you can have a couple cooldown attacks, a couple passive attacks. You get like an owl that will just follow you and automatically shoot at things. But all of your attacks are these other creatures that you kind of find and become friends with. And so when you attack, they are the ones doing the attacking. And so it creates just a very neat visual where your character just kind of always holds up her hands and like ducks out of the way when you attack. But then you have this lady with a giant axe who's doing all the swinging and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was liking about it. It's you as the player are really just positioning yourself in a good spot for whatever attack you want to do. If you pull away, then you will be able to do shooting. And if you get up close, then you will have the axe and melee distance and then dodging. You essentially all you're doing is dodging. Your quote unquote character is dodging.
Yeah, and what's nice is when you play, it doesn't feel that way. It feels very snappy. It feels very responsive. At no point, does it feel like I'm trying to balance a different person. It's just an aesthetic choice that works well, but doesn't impact the game in any negative way. Doesn't impact the gameplay in any negative way. So it's just a really good game to play. At first, I was going through it, and it's a Souls-like game, and so you build up to the bosses. And I thought, oh, these bosses are all pretty easy. Like I'm having a pretty simple time with them. But as I played more, especially last night, I started getting into some bosses that were really starting to kick my ass. That were really, but they're always just on the right side of challenging, in the same way that Black Myth Wukong was, and in the same way the first game was, where it feels like this is tough. I need to pay attention to the enemies' movements, to their move set. I need to kind of learn what they're going to do and how to dodge them. But the move sets are never so huge that becomes like a difficult thing. It's like, no, they have 3 to 4 moves that they'll do.
Feels attainable always.
Yeah. So learning their move set is pretty easy. It's like, okay, they're going to do 1 of 4 things. I got this.
Right.
But you still have to learn. And so you still go through that very Souls-like arc of, oh my God, this guy's impossible. No, I think I can do this. Oh yeah, I fucked him up. And that's a really satisfying arc. And so to have this game kind of capture that in microcosm just over and over and over and over again, it's just a good game to play. I'm just playing it and I'm like, I could play something else. I bought like 3 other games that I wanted to play, and I should talk about more on the podcast, but you know what? I just want to keep playing Ender Magnolias. It just feels good.
Good, then do that.
Yeah. So highly recommended. It's if you're a fan of Metroidvanias, it's probably good. If you're not a fan of Metroidvanias, it's probably good. I think if you're not a fan of Souls-likes, it's still good because you don't lose anything when you die. So if you fight a boss or you fight some enemies and you die, you retain all that experience and all that progress.
Right.
So it is a Metroidvania Souls-like game that is fun if you like either of those genres, but it's also still fun if you don't like either of those genres.
Right.
Which is kind of a miracle. And I really wish this game got more press, this and its first one, because they're really underrated gems of games.
Nice. All right. I don't know if I would play it, but of all of those Metroidvania type games, this is the one that looks like I actually might like. So,
Lucy Wright says something interesting.
Yeah. He says, I
Souls-like-
think Souls-likes are considered a subgenre of Metroidvania.
And my first thought was, no, that's not true. But as I think about it, a Souls-like game is kind of structured like a Metroidvania game, just with less roadblocks. Like I said, a Souls-like game is a Metroidvania game with shortcuts instead of roadblocks. Like the Souls-like kind of creates a labyrinthine level and then has a shortcut that goes back to the start. And so you're kind of constantly exploring and unlocking new paths, but you're not unlocking new paths because you're getting new abilities. You're just finding alternate routes.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Okay.
That's interesting.
Any other games?
Yes. Okay. I got a new phone relatively
Right.
recently. It was like a month ago.
Which one?
iPhone 14?
Oh, I just got the 16,
No.
the new one.
But one of the first things I did is on Netflix. Netflix offers a series of free games if you're a subscriber.
Right.
Previously, I had gone through the app and said, I want to try out this game, this game, this game, this game. And about half the things I clicked on said, this phone is not supported.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that I got a new phone,
All
I
those
can
things are
download
supported.
all those games. And one of the things I downloaded is a game called Rainbow Six Small. And
Okay.
this is I'm growing on it the more I play it, but there's also a lot about it that feels like it's not
It looks like
what the
Rainbow Six
developers
babies.
envisioned. It's Rainbow Six Babies, kind of, yes. But it's kind of this 2D action roguelike Rainbow Six game
Uh-huh.
where you play as the Rainbow Six operators. You get teleported into this fantasy world called Small. And the whole art style is Small, SMOL, which is
Mhm.
like very chibi characters, but like muscly chibi characters. Like we are chibi characters, but we got guns and we're gonna fuck you up. Um, and each level has a couple different objectives. The way
Uh-huh.
you play it's very simple to play. It's with a virtual joystick and a couple buttons. First of all, I fucking hate virtual buttons and virtual joysticks. They are the bane of all gaming. And this game would be so much more fun if I could just use a controller.
Mhm.
But I can't, or I probably can, but it's a lot to get that set up. The game itself, it goes by very quickly. Uh, when an enemy gets within your range of your gun, you will auto target them. So it's just you running around a level, kind of mashing the shoot button whenever you see an enemy, because you know I'm just going to automatically shoot them. It's not difficult. Uh, but you just go through a lot of these quick missions. These missions take like a minute or two at a time. There's a variety of them. Save the hostages. You got to go find a hostage and then bring them back to the car. Perform a ritual, defuse a bomb, assassinate a target or something. Just a bunch of pretty straightforward things that ultimately all involve you running around this environment and shooting dudes. You'll unlock other operators that give you different powers. And it feels like there's a lot going on. There are some traps too that you can see on the screen that you have to watch out for. It's all of it, at least on the small phone screen, is a little visually confusing. There's some really bad tutorialization in that I kept unlocking things, but I had no idea how to access the things that I unlocked because there is no menu. You get sent to a hub base, like your base of operations. And then from there, if you want to go to a loadout, you have to go talk to the loadout guy. If you want to change your characters, you got to talk to this other person. So it's all like menus based on the open world. Like, but it just makes it hard to access everything because, oh, I can't just switch to another menu to do XYZ. I've got to talk to X, then I've got to back out, go over here, talk to Y, then back out, go over here, talk to Z. And it's just a pain in the ass.
Mhm.
Um, Going through it, like I said, there's a lot that's confusing, but there is something about the core style of the game is really cool. This kind of paper craft military combat is cute and dumb, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
Mhm.
Uh, what's cute is if you finish a mission, usually your extraction van will come get you right away. So if I have to defend the bomb, it's counting down. There's all these enemies swarming the area, but the nanosecond that timer gets to 0, my van comes barreling through every wall, skids to a stop in front of me. My crew hops in, and we just take off through all the other walls. And it's just like crashes through everything. completely destructive. It is just cool to see the way that they do visual effects. It's like all the characters are this kind of paper craft, but the effects around them are all in 3D. And they're all like 60 frames per second. It's all really smooth, and it just creates this visual style that's really, really entertaining. And I wish it would be on a bigger screen because, like I said, it's a little busy.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine this on a small screen is a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. But there's just something about that moment to moment run and gun. Do that for 2 minutes and I progress through a little bit of a story. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, this is fun. It feels like there's a lot that's pushing against me. And it feels like a game that Ubisoft was working on or that Ubisoft mandated someone to make. And that team did their best. And then it came time to release it and they're like, hey, Ubisoft, we could use like some extra time to polish this. We could use some extra time to just kind of make it all a little better. And Ubisoft was like, nah, fuck it. Just release it. No one's going to play it anyways. Who gives a shit? And they're like, no, but we can update it. Nah, no, but we can add the couple little things that would make it great. And then Ubisoft's like, nah, we don't want to spend the
That
money to
doesn't
do that.
surprise me.
And I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's what it feels like. Because
Mhm.
so much of this game, the core of it is really fun, but there's so much around the edges of just trying to figure out the menu system, kind of figuring out the controls and fighting against them. There's a lot of friction pushing back against me that's not like fun friction, but just kind of making it hard to play the game. That feels like there's a solution here. There's a solution here. I don't know what it is, but you made a good game, a shockingly good game. And so I feel like you could have found the solution if you had a little bit more time.
Yeah.
But has a free Netflix game. It's like, it's surprisingly good. And I'm going to keep playing it until I get bored of it.
Yeah. Well, it definitely looks fun, especially as a mobile game. And, anything that's a 1 minute, just drop in, drop out, play a little, and then, move on. That's what I want from mobile games.
Yeah.
Um, I would
Oh,
rather have lots of little missions. Andy C. Hey. He says, hey, been a while. I listen every week. Good.
nice.
Also, Nick, are you going to try out Persona 5 now that you finished Metaphor? We
God,
talked about
no.
that last week.
God, no. I put too much time into Metaphor. Well, I love it. I think it's great. I don't want to put that much time into any other game anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's and Persona, all Persona games are like that in many, many ways. It makes your life, I mean, they're fantastic, but they're a commitment.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a girlfriend, that's a marriage.
So yes, I'm not ready to settle down with Persona 5 just yet.
Yeah, not just yet. All right, so let's see. My one game that I played this week, other than the Catch Rats in Your Kitchen game, which currently we're up to 5.
Okay. Are you winning that game?
I think so. We'll see. Seems to be. I am in anticipation of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 coming out on Tuesday. Replaying Kingdom Come Deliverance and understanding that there is no possible way for me to complete Kingdom Come Deliverance at this date. That is something I would have had to start a month to 2 months ago, because it is a very long game. I'm still pretty much in the prologue, and I spent the boy and the girl child are in Sacramento for this weekend for a volleyball tournament. So I'm here to take care of these things right here by myself, which means that I have been left with a PlayStation and a gigantic OLED and a recliner, like an electrical recliner, and a
Okay.
refrigerator full of food, and like drawers and drawers of chips.
That's a nice setup.
Oh yeah, and the minute they left, I made a tuna noodle casserole and ate the whole fucking thing, and then just proceeded to just burp and fart and drink and just do great things. Friday night, and then Saturday morning, I got up, I piddled the dogs, didn't even walk up, just piddled them, and I played Kingdom Come Deliverance. And also, when I wanted to take a break, I watched on Amazon Prime Video Gary and His Demons. Fantastic, fantastic. If you like, I'm having a brain cramp. Animated show, uncle who drinks, nice kid. He's a
Rick and
scientist.
Morty?
Rick and Morty. If you like Rick and Morty, you might want to think about Gary and His Demons.
Okay.
So I've been watching Gary and His Demons in between when it's like, okay, I need to just take a break and make some food. While I'll make some food, I'll watch something instead of play. Because I'm very sensitive to the fact I don't want to have anything on the OLED screen more than like 3 seconds of it not moving. Because I don't want to take any chances. Because it's not my OLED.
No, the OLED should be fine.
I
OLED
know.
doesn't burn in.
Mhm.
That's a plasma thing.
I know it's a plasma thing, but still, it's
No.
Chris is sensitive to it, and it's not my TV, not my house, not my rules. So I've been very sensitive.
I think you'll be fine.
I know, but even so, I'm. So I would watch that, but I pretty much played from, I'd say 11 o'clock yesterday morning until midnight. So I played 13 hours pretty much straight, and still only in the early stages. But I wanted to play it again, not because I thought that it needed to, I wanted to get through the story. Because honestly, if you are going to play, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, first off, this is what I know. What I have heard is you don't need to have played Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 to appreciate the story, but it helps because there are characters that are going to reoccur, there are themes that are going to reoccur, and you understanding, or at least having a basic understanding. And you don't have to have like had it's not going to like transfer over your character or anything. You could choose to play that character entirely differently, based on, like how you want to play this time. Because you make a lot of choices that are you make a lot of choices. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up the
like
the
political choices that have
personal
ramifications for the
choices,
world.
political choices, but also personal choices of things that the kind of person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Like
are you an
moral
asshole? Are
decisions.
you a nice guy?
Yeah, are you going to steal? Are you not going to steal? And that does affect the original game, how people react to you. Because they're not transferring over the characters at all, you can actually reinvent yourself when you start playing at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You will make decisions, and it will ask you, says, hey, what's your backstory? And you get to kind of explain your backstory.
Which is nice because I don't remember a goddamn thing from this game.
Right.
I remember the basics.
Mhm.
I remember I was like a random armored guy, blacksmith, whose town got invaded, and then I fled to another town, but I couldn't stay there, so I fled to another town, and then I just kind of like had to create a life for myself. And at some point, like the politics get roped back in, but I don't remember any of that.
Okay, so couple things. I wanted to play Kingdom Come Deliverance again, if only to remember the controls. That being said, I remember the fighting being incredibly difficult and clunky on a PlayStation. Like incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it was a little wonky, but like it was a wonkiness that there was a trick to it.
Yeah.
And so if you kind of figured out the wonkiness,
yeah,
you could do good at the combat. And that's what made it a lot of fun, because it wasn't just hit X and you attack. It's like,
Right.
no, I got to think about what way I'm swinging the sword. I got to think about my positioning. I got to there's a lot to think about, and that
Right.
made it really, really compelling.
Yeah, it's definitely not just, randomly swinging stuff. It is definitely something that you need to,
You got practice.
yeah. Hold on a second. I am trying to get
I
to
remember, I think
okay.
I
We're good.
started playing this game in the first place
Mhm.
because we had been playing Chivalry,
Mhm.
and this kind of has a similar feel to Chivalry.
Yeah, it does. In that, chivalry is you swing, you have to make particular swings and you have to do the follow through and there's momentum.
Mhm.
Same thing very much with this. It was complicated and it was very difficult to master on PlayStation. Now I'd heard that it was much, much, much easier on PC. That being said, I think they did some patches to it to make it less difficult
Hmm.
in the game, in the actual, like the latest game. Playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, the combat seemed easier. But that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go back to Kingdom Come Deliverance is I wanted to re-experience the game, re-experience a bunch of the mechanics, kind of refamiliarize myself with the character, the gameplay, the structure, kind of the feel of it. As far as the story is concerned, I highly recommend that you go to YouTube and watch a Kingdom Come Deliverance story plot redux. There's a number of videos out there. What was the one that I watched today? Because I wanted to uh, let's see. I want to go to YouTube. I wanted to remind myself of the full story. Like you said, I remembered like, okay, there was like the fire and my parents were killed and I had to run. And I kind of remembered the last thing that I was the son of Sir Radzik. But I
Hmm.
didn't really remember all the stuff in between. I just remembered it was really fucking long. There there's a number of story recaps. Where is it? I'm trying to find one that I
Yeah, it
just
looks like there's
watched.
one from the developers too.
I would not go to the one from the developers.
Hmm.
There is one from Wolfheart FPS, all one word, Wolfheart FPS on YouTube. It's called The Full Story Recap of Kingdom Come Deliverance, KCD2 Prep. Highly recommend. It's 29 minutes long. Highly recommend you put a half an hour into the story simply because understanding the story will help you kind of whet your appetite and remind you of the machinations, which are very big. Ultimately, the Kingdom Come Deliverance ends with you not having fulfilled the quest, the main quest. Like you always have a main quest in your story. Your main quest in Kingdom Come Deliverance was get your father's sword back. Remember that? Your father made a sword for Sir Radzig, the Lord, and then it
Oh,
was stolen.
vaguely.
Right. That was the main quest of Kingdom Come Deliverance. You didn't get your sword back by the end of Kingdom Come Deliverance. You rode off. You were riding off to essentially help create a resistance to Siegfried. Sigismund, the rival king, the the brother, the cousin or the brother or the uncle, whoever, who is trying to overthrow King Wenceslas of Poland. Like I said, case in point, you definitely want to familiarize yourself with the political landscape and refamiliarize yourself with the story because the main quest that you did not fulfill in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 is the main quest in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So, um, spend a half an hour and watch that. I also recommend at this point, if you have played Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and it's been a while, go in and spend a day. between now. Like take a few hours. It's going to take a lot of hours because the prologue is very long. And I hear the prologue of King KCD 2 is like 2 hours before the title credits. So gonna want to get a feel for it. You are going to get the tutorial, obviously, in the 2 hours of KCD2 prologue, but just kind of refamiliarizing yourself with the combat mechanics, with the dialogue mechanics, with the relationships. It's kind of nice. So that's where I am at right now. I have put in probably at this point 20, 23 hours into KCD 1 to remind myself how to play it, and a half hour into reminding myself of the story.
Nice.
And now I am ready. I am ready for 2. And all I am hearing is fantastic stuff. I hear that they've simplified the mechanic. It's still not simple, but it's simplified compared to
Yeah.
what it was, which is what it kind of needed.
I think this will be like a Witcher 1 to Witcher 2 moment.
I think so too. And what is interesting is that if this game is as big as I expect it to be,
I just want to say, wait, I remember this fucking road. I walked down this road so much, but looking at this video, I'm like, I
oh
recognize
yeah,
this place.
oh
This
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
place.
See, like I said, you need to refamiliarize yourself. Like, oh
Yes,
yeah,
it spent so
it's
much time,
Rattay. Yeah, Rattay.
so
I
much
remember
time in
Rattay.
there.
Rattay. I remember Rattay. And it's like, oh yeah, and this guy and those fucking dogs. I fucking hate those dogs. And you know, Sir Hans. Oh yeah, Sir Hans Capon was kind of a dick, and then he becomes your best friend.
Anyways,
Anyways, that's what I have done and what I have played. I'm not very far into it and anticipate that I will not be very far into it by the
yeah,
time the
you're just
case.
trying to refresh it for the sequel.
Right. Just essentially groundwork and prep for when it comes out on the 4th. I
AC
can't
Ray.
believe it's 2 days away. After all this time,
Oh
it has
yeah,
been
wow.
6 years, almost 7 years, and the wait is almost over in 2 days.
AC Ray. Poor Veilguard.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
The big. Yeah. Well, we can get into that news now because I think you're done with
I'm
what
done.
you've been
I'm
playing.
done. Yeah.
You've
No,
got
yeah.
you've got the big OLED. You've got like the PlayStation. You've got all the stuff there to really dig into it.
The problem is that I haven't found a place to live, and this is going to be a problem because I
But
need
you
to
could.
find a place to live, and KCD is I kinda wanted to be in a place, in my own place when this started, because it's gonna be very hard for me to be making
Fine.
decisions because all I'm gonna be like is, "Fuck, I gotta move. I've gotta, like, get a place, and I gotta move, and all I wanna do is play KCD."
That's
Yeah.
tough.
Because I mean, this is a big
But
thing.
you
And it's not a small move. I mean, you know how big most of the moves that you've done, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Now, this is 35 years that I have lived where I live. The longer you are in a place, the bigger the move it is. Because it's a lot of stuff.
all
It's
you
a
got just
lot of stuff.
you just got to make sure that the TV and the console are the first things that you hook up.
Yeah, I'm actually getting Chris's old TV.
Nice.
So I'm not bringing my old TV with me. Or I might, but it's not gonna be I might actually put it in the bedroom, although I don't believe in TVs in bedrooms. We may decide, but bottom line is, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a big job. What did
It
he
says
say?
a lot of stuff. What's left after the dust and rats?
Still a lot of stuff. A lot of clothes. Oh, shit. You know what? Why don't you talk? I have to take this phone call, all right?
Okay.
All right. So you talk, I'll be right back.
Okay, let's see. We've got a lot of really fun small stories. We'll hold off on the Bioware tragedy. Um, but for now, let's go with this one. Let's talk about some Sony stuff. Sony announced that they announced far in advance, which I was surprised at. In 2026, starting January 2026, they will stop offering PS4 games as part of the monthly PS Plus bonus package. So if you subscribe to PSN, uh, like even at the basic tier, I think, as long as you subscribe, each month you'll be given access to some free games. And you can download them and you'll have access to them for as long as you are a subscriber. If you let the subscription lapse, you'll lose access to all those games. But in your library, it does have a nice filter where you can filter your entire library based on what you actually bought and what is downloaded as part of the PSN subscription. But for the past, several years, since 2020, when the PS5 came out, they've been offering PS4 games as part of that subscription. So every month, there's like maybe one PS4 and a PS5, or like two PS5 and one PS4, or something like that. And that this year will be the last year. I'm surprised that they announced it this far in advance. I thought when I first saw the headline that this would be something that takes effect in like a month or so, but no, they're letting you know that this whole year is the last year, and it makes a lot of sense. Uh, they've supported the PS4 for freaking ever, and I don't feel bad about only offering PS5 games in 2026. That feels like it's time to move on. At that point, I feel like we're 2 years or 3 years away from a PS6. And so, yeah, that kind of feels like it's time to leave the PS4 behind. If we're already getting to PS6 territory, like it's okay to kind of leave those behind. Um, yeah, it's still funny now how many games that I buy that come with a PS4 and PS5 version. Like the last generation has been so sticky. That's the term that I've seen a lot of investors use. It's just like got this hold on people. And yeah, it sold really well, but there's just a lot of people that didn't see a point in upgrading. They still buy games, but they just didn't upgrade to PS5. And it's an interesting phenomenon. But we are finally going to move on. Uh, One thing that's not going to continue, though, the PSN account requirement for Steam games or for PC games. Sony is getting rid of this as a requirement. I believe it started with the release of Spider-Man 2 on PC, which happened either this week or last week. But they do want to incentivize you to do it. And so if you link your PSN account, you will get access to the DLC for Spider-Man 2 for free as part of linking your account. If you don't link your account, you won't have access to that DLC. So it's I think this is a good alternative. It's using the carrot instead of the stick. Instead of punishing people and saying you can't play this at all if you don't have link. It's trying to bribe you. And you know what? I think all gamers are okay being bribed. We all appreciate a couple free things now and then. So if Sony wants to bribe me into linking an account, I will take that bribe. I don't know how the more PC centric players are. AC Wraith, Jaeger, like you play more on PC. Like, is this a good alternative? I kind of wish Chaos was here to talk about this because I think he does a lot more PC gaming, so he'd have a better sense of how that community is responding to the news. AC Wraith says they did that for the first Spider-Man. They gave a skin. Okay. Maybe this is Insomniac's influence on Sony then, that they are able to kind of increase the bribe that they give. Instead of just a skin, it's now a full piece of full DLC. I guess we'll have to see what happens with well, what would be next? Ragnarok? Did Ragnarok come out on PC yet? Or is that still coming? Rock on PC. Oh no, it is on Steam. Okay, I think all of Sony's first party major games have now come out on PC. I think they've kind of all caught up, other than Astrobot. No, he says it's fine with me. Yeah, this seems like an acceptable alternative. And hopefully they keep it up and keep offering bribes. Let's see. The last week we had talked about how the Sleeping Dogs movie was officially dead. That with Lee Dan, oh my god, how am I blanking on his name now? Chat, help me. Who was the martial artist that was attached to Sleeping Dogs? Oh, what was this? Donnie Yen. That's what it was. I knew it had a D. Donnie Yen had it's like for the past 5 years, no, more than that, for the past decade. As long as the Sleeping Dogs movie has been in development, Donnie Yen has been attached to it. But that is no longer the case. He's not attached anymore. And so last week, there was kind of word that the movie is officially dead. Well, it has now this week been resurrected with Simu Lee of Shang-Chi fame kind of attached to it. There isn't really any more information about it. There's still no like talk about a script or a director or anything like that. Just that I guess Square Enix is still interested in trying to make a movie, even if it's going to take forever. So we'll see where this goes. I still think that Sleeping Dogs has a premise. Like, it's a really good, it should work for a crime thriller. Like, it's just a crime thriller martial arts movies, and those type of movies are a dime a dozen, and a lot of them are really good. So if you could make like a good video game movie on Sleeping Dogs, it feels like it shouldn't be difficult. But at least now they're gonna keep going for it. So good luck to whoever climbs on board that, because they're going up a hill. They're pushing a boulder up a hill. HG Ritz says, "I want more Shang-Chi." Yeah, I would like Simu Lee to do that before he does Sleeping Dogs, but that requires Disney and Marvel to kind of get their shit together. And yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. It's a race to see who can get their shit together first. Square Enix and Sleeping Dog, or Disney and Marvel and Shang-Chi. That's like Winds of Winter or Elder Scrolls 6. Whoever wins that race, it's going to be going on for so long that no one will care by the time someone wins. Anyways.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Hey, good. I was just about to get into another one.
Okay, so let's talk. Oh, the news this week. Oh, did you talk at all about
Bioware? No,
Okay.
I was saving that.
Good, thank you. Because
Yeah.
oh, by the way, did you actually do the music?
Oh, no.
Of course not. Why would you do the music?
Why would I do that?
We've got to do the music, dude. Got to do the music. All right. So let's hit the news.
Yeah, agreed. I see, Rafe.
This is the GameHounds news, the news and commentary of the week in gaming. And our first item is way down.
You're kind of cutting out.
Oh, okay.
During that.
Let's see if I can get it down a little bit more. All right. I'm trying to figure out where the level is.
This is why we just don't do music.
No, it's our music. It's our bumper music. We got to use it.
Let the music play out, and then we can talk.
No. So I would like to. There's a lot going on with BioWare this week. So much so that I would like to introduce a new banner for you. We have a new member to the family. This week in the Bioware shit show. It joins This Week in the Activision Blizzard shit show, which was the OG one. This week in the Ubisoft shit show, and this week in the Epic versus Google shit show. We now have a fourth. This week in the Bioware shit show, because the shit show this week is real. All right, so
Yeah. Remember last week when we were talking about this
Bioware's done.
this tweet kind of feels like it's a goodbye, right? Are they saying goodbye to Bioware? Are they saying goodbye
You
to
kind of
Dragon
said
Age?
this isn't the end of Bioware. The next one, Mass Effect, is going to
I
be the end of
was
Bioware.
I was mostly right. I get a half credit.
Well, yeah, BioWare is very much a hot mess right now. So it started with EA announced that it was repurposing, a whole new word for human beings that I've never heard used for humans before. EA repurposed a bunch of BioWare employees. Pulling them from BioWare and putting them on other EA titles that were not BioWare related. They aren't even RPG related. So they could have been with BioWare for a very long time, and then all of a sudden now they're working on Skate or some other.
No, they're not.
game.
There's like 10 people working on Skate.
Right, exactly.
And
Well,
it's
now
not-
there's
EA's not going to give Skate resources.
that's actually what they did. That was one of the titles that they said that they had
Oh, really?
repurposed people for. One of them was Skate. So
Okay.
and it was like, okay, we're just moving people off because now that Veilguard is out, we're starting in on Mass Effect 4. Sorry, that's the next Mass Effect. Because I mean, I guess Andromeda is technically 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mass Effect 5. We're going. It's in the pre-production phase, so we don't need to have our full group and everybody on the payroll. We can pull them away from BioWare to go work on Skate for a while we get through the pre-production phase, and then bring them back when we start needing them.
Which kind of makes sense. That's typically what happens to contractors after any game gets shipped.
Sure.
Is, hey, we're gonna get rid of all the contractors because they were just on here for this project. This is also the first time that BioWare has been a single game studio.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that while production is ramping up on this game, there is no second game that all those people can work on in the meantime.
Right. It will be eventually, but not right now. They're doing it sequentially, not,
Yeah.
Not was it when two
Simultaneously?
Yeah, simultaneously, right. So so many of the coders and writers and stuff were kind of moved over to other stuff. Well, the coders really, not the writers, but the coders were all moved over to these other games. At the same time, we started hearing about some veterans that were leaving a BioWare, like people that had worked there for a really long time. Ryan Cormier, who was the editor on Star Wars: The Old Republic, Anthem, and Dragon Age Veilguard, left. Jennifer Shivery, a tester, analyst, and producer on Mass Effect 3, Dragon Age Inquisition, Anthem, and Veilguard. So that's going back a long way. Gone. Elsewhere. Daniel Steed, a producer on Star Wars: The Old Republic, Legacy of the Sith, also moved on. We're hearing senior product managers, systems designers, UX designers. They all kind of went to say, yeah, thanks, so long. Thanks for all the fish. They were all kind of like, thanks.
Makes sense. I can see what EA is doing. They are laying off the people.
No, these weren't layoffs. These are people that left at about the same time that people were being repurposed.
Okay.
All right. That was the first stage of it's not so bad. We have a bunch of veterans. They've been working on these games for a long time. It's going to be years before we see Mass Effect. That makes sense that they're all kind of moving on to greener pastures where they're.
I'm sure they got a nice severance package.
Right, exactly. These are all 15, 20-year veterans that are all just kind of going elsewhere. Okay, that sort of makes sense. Then EA sacked every writer and producer on the company. And that was our first inclination that, oh, there are things that are not right here. Because, of course, you can repurpose coders. We can repurpose programmers. You can repurpose designers. You can't repurpose writers. There's not a need for a writer for Skate.
There's a lot of dialogue in
There's
Skate.
a lot of dialogue, but you don't need more writers
Yeah,
for
it's not the
Skate
same.
than what they already have. So that's when we started thinking, oh, that is a problem. Every writer who was credited as being part of the main writing for Dragon Age Veilguard all of a sudden wasn't working for Bioware anymore. So that's when things started to get a little weird. So this essentially was broken by some of these writers taking to Twitter and to Blue Sky. Gary McKay, who was Veilguard's, who was BioWare's general manager, writing lead Trick Weeks posted on Blue Sky that he's, quote, now looking for a new writing narrative position after 20 years with BioWare. Then fellow writer Brienne Bate revealed that she's also someone who is moving on from BioWare as part of what they're calling a restructuring. Cheryl Chi, also another writer in the same boat. She posted on Twitter, I was a writer at BioWare for 5 years, and I learned a lot during my time from the exceptional folks in many disciplines, but also specifically from my fellow writers and our amazing editors on both Mass Effect and Dragon Age brands. Today, not a single one of those writers or editors remains employed there. So yeah, then the rumors started. More than just rumors, like the social media posts started that, oh crap, people are like being booted. Then the wheels came completely off in the last 24 hours. Jason Schreier in Bloomberg wrote an article that appears to suggest, or at least his sources suggest, that every single person who was repurposed from BioWare with the like, oh, it's just they're there temporarily just to help Auto and Skate until we can bring them back. Oh, Cindy Lou Who, I'm going to fix your Christmas tree. It's got a light out on one side. I'm going to take it up to my workshop and fix it up there and bring it back here. That's what they said. Turns out, no. All of those people that are being repurposed are now no longer employees of BioWare. They are now employees of EA that are working on these games that they probably never wanted to work on because they kind of didn't get to decide what they got to work on.
Yes, but it's also probably better than being fired or being laid off.
Oh, definitely better than being laid off. But here I am, somebody that has been a programmer on RPGs because that's what I like to program. That's what I'm good at. Like, say, for example, I don't know, AI, and all of a sudden now you're working on Skate or something else that is not what you're used to writing and not what you're used to coding. So it's better than being laid off. Yes, absolutely. But still being told that you are temporarily going to help out those teams over there, and then all of a sudden now you're no longer working for your company, and being told that if you do want to come back, you'll have to reapply for your job, which is what they've been told. So yeah, it's kind of, and it's really, really surprising kind of how this is playing out, because EA is not afraid and never has been afraid of just getting rid of a company, like closing down a studio that doesn't perform the way that it should, in their opinion. And I guess it says a lot for the Bioware brand that they're not just shutting Bioware down, but they're effectively
No.
shutting Bioware down
From what
for
I've
the
read,
time being.
they have less than 100 employees.
Less than 100 employees now. Fewer than 100 employees. But yeah, they have fewer than 100 employees currently. There is, I mean, nobody is saying that there's not going to be a Mass Effect 5. I am saying now there's not going to be a Mass Effect 5.
Hmm.
I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think that the powers that be at EA are going to put up with this. They're just, I don't think that they are willing to wait the cycle. If they're in pre-production now, we're looking at a cycle of at least 6 years, if not more. I don't
Yeah.
think that EA is going to hold on to its people. I think that Mass Effect 5 is going to be EA's Beyond Good and Evil 2. They're going to
No,
keep saying that they're working
no.
on it, but they're not really
Uh,
working on it.
it will not be that because EA will cut that shit. EA will pull the plug on that. Ubisoft is so desperate. They need like no, we're still working on Beyond Good.
Yeah.
We're still working on it. We're still working on it. EA, I imagine, that has Mass Effect 5 goes through pre-production, that as with any project, there are not roadblocks, roadmaps, parts
Mhm,
stops on a roadmap. What are they
mhm.
called?
Milestones.
Milestones.
Right.
Every one of those milestones, they're going to pitch to like an EA executive. This is our vision for the game. This is what we have. And if during those milestones EA goes, we don't think this is coming together,
Mhm.
that is when you cancel the game. That is when you shut down Bioware. I think they are. I think they're giving it a good faith effort because,
Like you have one last
yeah,
try.
to be fair
One.
to EA, all the problems with Bioware, for the most part, are problems of their own making.
Right. That
Anthem has a
absolutely.
live service game was pushed from Bioware, not EA. The
Right.
one good thing in that game, the flying, was like encouraged by the CEO at the time. I think it
Mhm.
was Riccatello. That
Yeah, it was John Riccatello.
the one good thing he's ever done in his life. um, but yeah, they're all problems of their own making. Even
Except not all.
well
I would say the problems
with
with
Veilguard,
Veilguard, that is 100% on EA.
I don't think so, because the problem with Veilguard is that from the start, at least this iteration of it, it is a game with a serious identity crisis.
Right.
It's a game we're going to go more action packed. We're going to kind of pull back on the RPG decision making that the
Mhm.
game's known for. We're going to make it more actiony in order to appeal to a wider audience. But we're going to be a direct continuation to a game that came out a decade ago. And so on one
I
hand,
would
you have this story that's like, oh yeah, you kind of need to know what happened before, but we want a whole bunch of new players. And so what happened is all the new players said, no, I don't want to play that. I'm not interested. And all the old players like me said, well, that doesn't look like Dragon Age. I don't want to play that.
right.
And so they chose a lane. Both the lanes go that way. They chose a middle lane that no one liked.
I think that if out of context, the latest iteration of Dragon Age, I would agree with you. But there's a broader story. This is the third Dragon Age. The first Dragon Age, the people that worked on it at the time, it was canned by EA, said it was the best game they have ever made. That game is on a hard drive, hopefully somewhere, not and preserved, but will never be released. And many people that worked on it said it was the best game they've ever worked on. That was shit canned by EA for a live service game. Repurposing it as live service, that was iteration number 2. That was an edict that came straight from EA. Iteration number 2, They worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and then all of a sudden they realized, oh shit, live service is a third rail. Now we don't want a live service. They pulled the plug on iteration number 2, and then they said, okay, start over again and do number 3. And then it became well, we have an identity crisis. We knew what our identity was when we wrote that first game, and it was the best game we've ever made. All those people are gone now that made that fantastic game. We could bring that game back, but apparently they didn't want to bring that game. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But what the next thing that they brought was suffering an identity crisis. It absolutely does. It suffers an identity crisis because the art style is wrong. This is my problem with it. So my biggest problem with it is the art style. It's wrong. It looks like if you took what Dragon Age should have been at this stage of console generations, right? The state of console technology, graphics technology. And if you try to mesh it with Fortnite, that art style, everything was kind of round and kind of cartoonish and not, it didn't feel real. And the thing is that Dragon Age originally did feel real. It felt like a living place. You contrast it with Kingdom Come Deliverance. You go into Kingdom Come Deliverance, you are in medieval Poland. The art is it's just beautiful, just gorgeous. It's immersive. Dragon Age Origins, what made it so great is it was immersive. You were absolutely immersed in that story. Dragon Age Veilguard, actually, I would say Inquisition, not quite there, but enough. But after that, Veilguard, not immersed in it at all. The fact that I, of someone who absolutely adores Bioware and Dragon Age, played maybe 10 hours of it and walked away and I don't feel like coming back, says that there was nothing immersive to it.
Yeah.
That was their problem, is that they didn't have an identity. They did, and then EA threw it out. They brought something in that was not going to work, should have been clear. This would never work with the core audience. Then they realized that they needed to throw it out. And then they tried to start over, probably cobbling assets together. I would imagine that the live service that they had thought of, that they had a concept of before it was canned, probably looked more like Dragon Age Veilguard than I would like to think, because it looks so much like Fortnite. The character, the art does, the characterizations, the people's faces, they look cartoony. That is straight out of, sorry, got fuzz, cat hair. Straight out of something like Fortnite. So I'm saying that you're saying that it's BioWare's fault is not entirely true. It wasn't BioWare's fault.
I mean, it's not any single entity's fault.
I would say yes. If there is a single
spread the
entity, the
blame.
fault is it's EA sticking their fingers in where they shouldn't have, and then starting in on development, and then keeping repeatedly pulling the plug. Every single time being a brain drain
Pulling
of
the
the
plug,
process.
pulling the plug in the live service game probably helped. I'll bet that was a good decision.
Oh, that was a
the
very
thing
good
is-
decision. But by that point, they had lost all the people that could have actually made Dragon Age a good game.
The thing is, I can't entirely blame EA because for me personally, I know
Mhm.
you're a huge fan of Dragon Age. The series has just gone downhill since the first one.
It
Origins
has.
is the best. 2 is good.
Not
But
great.
they
Inquisition
did
is
Inquisition I never finished because I got bored of it. And then
Yeah.
Veilguard I never played. Like I
They lost the immersion. They lost the thing that drives you through that story.
BioWare games. What is I want to see the actual timeline of BioWare games because I feel like they peaked at Mass Effect 2. And
Mhm.
everything after that has just been some level of downhill. Okay. They did Origins, they did Mass Effect 2, then they did Dragon Age 2, then they did the Old Republic, the MMO that I never played. Mass Effect 3, which
Hold on a
was
second.
just not as good as Mass Effect 2.
Let's see, Neverwinter Nights. Let's see, Knights of
Then
the Old Republic.
Inquisition, then Andromeda, then Anthem, then Veilguard. So yeah, from Dragon Age, from Mass Effect 2, it was kind of all downhill. The big games were Dragon Age 2, The Old Republic, Mass Effect 3,
Mhm.
Inquisition, Andromeda, Anthem, and Veilguard. Like
Mhm.
there's a staircase going down. And so I can't entirely blame EA because this has just kind of been a long time coming, I think.
Mhm. Well, I think that it is no coincidence that Dragon Age Inquisition immediately after Dragon Age Inquisition, they started working on the next Dragon Age game. And from that point on, that's when things started to suck. Notice that these are the worst games that they've made. It's because they pulled the plug on a really good game. Because when, let's see, what are we looking at? Dragon Age Inquisition is what year? 2014, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2019. So between 2014 and 2019, I believe that is when they started in on the great game that was all but finished. I mean, all but finished, according to what I remember the reports were from the developers themselves, and then pulled and canned for live service. That was the fatal mistake for the company because so many people left after that were the original people who knew what made Dragon Age games good. So many people left at that point that there was no one to carry on the torch of what Dragon Age is. Then it just became a widget salesman. So if you're going to lay it, if you have to pick one entity whose feet the demise, I'm calling it the end of Bioware. This is the end of Bioware, period. This is the end of Bioware, hands down, no question. If I'm going to lay it on any entity's feet, it's going to be EA. And it was that decision. Canning the original RPG in favor of the live service and not releasing it. Once they did that, it was not just the doom of Dragon Age, it was the doom for BioWare because they lost the people. They always talked about BioWare magic. BioWare magic. Everything's going to work out because it's BioWare magic. They lost the magicians.
Okay, so
The people that made BioWare magic were gone after that.
Okay, I found an article from GameRant from 2019, April 2019, talking about what was then called Project Joplin.
Joplin, right.
Morrison is the code name for the middle version, the live service one. Joplin is the first one. And now I'm reading some of these details, and I'll tell you what they were. But also, reading this, you know what it kind of sounds like? What a lot of these things that people like, oh, this sounds really cool. This sounds really cool. You know what it sounds like?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Baldur's fucking Gate 3. So
they did make Baldur's Gate 1 and
Yes.
Baldur's Gate 2.
So here's what the Game Rant article says. In Joplin, players would have been spies in the Tevinter Imperium, and the game's goal was to put an emphasis on choice and consequence and have smaller areas and fewer fetch quests than Inquisition. One developer commented that for Joplin, the idea of repeat play would have seen in-game areas change over time with missions that had multiple branches, which would even allow for non-standard game overs if too many bad decisions were made. That's like the selling point of Baldur's Gate. The multiple branches, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Oh, if I talk to this guy with poop on my face, he's going to comment on it. Like the whole goblin situation in Act 1 of Baldur's Gate,
Right.
Kind of sets you up for that spider web of narrative choices.
Right.
Joplin would have also focused on heists as spies, presumably to circumvent the plans of Solus. When speaking to Kotaku, developers also mentioned systemic narrative mechanics that would have allowed Dragon Age 4 players to persuade, extort, or somehow abuse guards. One former Bioware said that we were working towards something very cool, a hugely reactive game, smaller in scope than Dragon Age Inquisition, but much larger in player choice, followers, reactivity, and depth. That sounds like a smaller scale Baldur's Gate, which is what I specifically said I wanted out of Baldur's Gate, is Baldur's Gate without some of the excessive levels that they had. So yeah, it sounds like they were making a Bioware game. And then they kind of got shifted into making a live service game, and then they shifted into making an action game that no one wanted.
Right. And
Yeah,
that's the story. That is exactly the story that I remembered because remember, I remember everything because it was important to me, very personally important to me to remember all of the news. And I remember specifically when they announced that the game that they had all but finished for the next Dragon Age was being scrapped. And many of them said, this was the best game we've ever made. This is the best game I've personally ever worked on. That right there, that description of it tells me, it was it was Baldur's Gate 3. It was Baldur's Gate 3 before Baldur's Gate 3. In fact, would not surprise me if one of the reasons why Baldur's Gate 3 did what it did is because of the people that worked on BioWare's the first time they made Dragon Age 4.
You don't know who shifted teams or what.
No, but it is kind of interesting.
But I will say
interesting.
It's kind of interesting, but I will also say, if Baldur's Gate 3 came out in 2019, it would have flopped. It would have flopped hard. I think the world was too in the midst of live service games for Baldur's Gate 3 to take off. I think
Possibly.
we needed the industry to move on a little bit for Baldur's Gate 3 to like spark as big as it did.
I never understood when they scrapped the live service, why they didn't return to this game that everybody said, Joplin, that everybody said was amazing.
I think for the same reason that they changed the combat system between 1 to 2 to 3. They just wanted an increase in audience, and that meant make an action game instead of an RPG.
Yeah. It was, again, if I'm going to pick an entity to blame, it is EA. And if it's going to pick the decision that spelled the end of BioWare, it was that one right there. And guess who made that decision? John fucking Militaro. I hate that guy. God, that guy. How did that guy get a job? He has failed upward for his whole career. And this was the ultimate fail upward. How is anyone employing that man? He is a fucking idiot.
His failings are so big, you can still feel
epic
the repercussions a decade later.
Yeah.
His failures are like a rock thrown into a still pond.
Right. That turns he is John Riccatello is the butterfly that flaps his wings that turns into a fucking typhoon on the other side of the planet. That man, there's two things in this world that are harbingers of doom. Me buying the collector's edition of any game and John Riccatello working at your fucking studio. At its guaranteed demise. Anyway, that's it. So this week in the Bioware shit show, I don't know, and I don't know if I really should have done a this week in the Bioware shit show because realistically, this is not. I don't think this is going to be going on for weeks. I think they just put all of the bad news all together at once because now there are so few employees working for the company. There's not a lot of news to be had. There's nothing that could, like, they're not doing updates on Veilguard. They're not supporting Veilguard anymore.
No, you're not going to hear anything from them for a while.
This is the end. I mean,
like I said, I don't think this
it deserves a shit show because it was such an implosion, so fast, so quick. But
I don't think this is the complete end. Like I said, they've got those milestone presentations. If those don't work out, then it's the end. But this is a company.
This is a company that is unable to find an identity for itself in Dragon Age. Like Anthem, that was one of the problems with Anthem. It didn't know what it wanted to be.
Then maybe it's good that they're working on Mass Effect 5 because
if you can't do Dragon Age right, how do you think that they're going to be able to find an identity
for
Dragon?
I think Mass Effect is easier because Dragon Age,
action.
But Dragon Age never had an identity. 1, Origins, 2, Inquisition are all very different types.
They all just whip back and forth.
Yeah, Mass Effect is like, it's a shooty action game with RPGs. Like
we definitely knew what it felt like. 1, 2, 3 were a
they
body of work. They were a body of work.
And from everything I heard about Andromeda, people liked the action mechanics in it. They just didn't like the writing of the characters.
Right.
So I think there is a path forward. They can take the combat systems that they are pretty good at. I've heard that Veilguard does feel good to play, even if only controlling one person is like a little limiting. So like they kind of have a good sense of action systems. They just need to fix the writing. And so I foresee Mass Effect 5 going forward because they can present EA with like a really cool, compelling action system. But when it comes time to ramp up development and bring in actual writers, that's when I think they'll start running into issues because that's kind of been where they ran into issues for all the.
Well, they've always been able to sell EA on an idea. The problem is you're right. They've never been able to actually bring those ideas to fruition because nobody is willing to make any decisions. And I don't think anybody is left that can make decisions. Now, this could be the recognition that throw a Hail Mary because you're dead. If you don't throw a Hail Mary here, and if somebody doesn't grow a pair and start advocating for finding an idea you believe in, advocating for that idea, and not letting widget salesmen turn you away from that idea, fighting for it tooth and nail to make sure it happens. That's what they need. And at this point, anybody who's still there will probably knows that if they don't do that, it's the end. This is their last chance.
They need their final
reason
fantasy.
for them not to piss off. Go piss off EA. Piss off everybody at EA. But for fuck's sake, take a stand and make a game. You all know how to make a game. Make the fucking game you want to fucking make.
They need their final fantasy. Like that's famously why Final Fantasy is named Final Fantasy, because
Right.
it was like, well, if this game doesn't succeed, we're done. So they named it the Final Fantasy, and
Right.
now there's like 80,000 Final Fantasies.
But here's the thing: is that
They
Square
need
Enix,
their equivalent. Oh,
Square
that was
Enix.
before Square Enix was a thing.
Oh, that's true. But
That's back when it
there
was
was,
Squaresoft. That
yeah,
was also
Square.
like that was also back in a different century.
It was in a different century. There was no major conglomerate that owned Squaresoft.
No.
It was they were making a decision in-house and no one could stop them. They didn't have a parent company saying, "No, we don't want you to do that because we own you and we don't want you to make a mistake. We would rather have you fail doing something conventional than fail doing something unique."
Mm. Are we talking about Bioware or Congress? Bum.
Yeah, they've got nothing to lose. And honestly, the only reason why they might, mollycoddle and get all milk mouthed to EA about what they want to make is because they're hoping to keep their job for 6 months longer. But
Well,
that's the thing. It's
look,
6 months.
a,
They're only buying themselves time.
a potential bright side.
Mhm,
Remember when we talked about EA's financials?
mhm.
And we learned that the Veil Guard sold like less than half of what they thought it would.
And that their soccer game is a big
The
problem.
bigger story is that the Ultimate Team
Uh-huh.
and their FIFA, not the FIFA, their FC game
FC game.
didn't sell as well and like wasn't retaining as much through the Ultimate Team. That's where their money is coming from.
Right.
So, in a world we can imagine a couple years down the line, EA is like, oh my God, our football games, both of them, are not selling what we need them to. What do? BioWare, you're our only hope. You got to give us something. We'll give you whatever resources you need. We
It's true.
just need something.
It's true. EA's, I mean,
EA can get so
BioWare, we're
desperate.
talking about BioWare. Realistically, EA's got a problem.
Mhm.
EA's got a major
Look,
problem
I
because the
could
only thing that has kept them afloat is FIFA, and they haven't got that anymore.
I could see in 5 years EA being in the position Ubisoft is.
I agree. Unless they have,
And then Tencent will come in and buy them too.
yeah. I think EA is kind of done. I'm sitting in a house that EA bought.
They're not done. Wait, no, it's not EA, is it?
What?
EA
That's
doesn't
where
EA doesn't own Crystal Dynamics.
no, but that's where Chris
Oh,
worked
that's where
for
he
20
got his
years.
start. Yeah.
And remember his little name tag on his
Oh
wall that says
yeah.
"Fuck
Yeah.
you, I'm fully vested."
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a house that was purchased with EA employee stock.
Look, let's not like say EA is a failure of a company. They put out a lot of cool games.
They put out a lot of cool games, but I think that they are on the ropes of
They're
being
on the
you're right,
ropes.
of being the next Ubisoft, the next company that it's like, you're not making money. You don't have the cash
They
cow
they
anymore.
don't have the growth. That's what
Mhm.
it is.
Not even the
They
growth.
they
They don't
have
have
the money. They have the money and they're bringing it in, but they're not getting the higher money.
right.
I would say with EA, the two things to watch out for are because their college football game sold like gangbusters. Watch how the next college football game sells and watch how the next Battlefield sells.
Mhm.
I think the next Battlefield will be a harbinger of their future.
Yeah, okay. I would agree. I would agree. And on top of that, the next Battlefield is competing with a very strong Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong Call of
Call
Duty
of
this
Duty's
year.
put out yearly iterations. They've got Warzone. They
And they're
have a
good.
successful live service model.
Call of Duty has had some really they went through some period of time where they were putting out just shovelware. Those times are
Mhm.
ended, and Activision is putting out good Call of Duties now. So it used to be Battlefield would just wait for Activision to make a bad game, and then everybody go to Battlefield. They can't rely upon winning by waiting. winning by being the best loser.
Yeah. It's been so long since the last Battlefield game, and even that one was kind of tepidly received,
Yeah.
that they're in a pit. They're in a ditch and they've got to claw their way out of it.
Yeah. I mean, as which is, BioWare is on its last legs. That if you don't make a good Mass Effect is your last chance. The the college football, and Battlefield, even more so, probably Battlefield,
Yeah.
is kind of EA's last chance.
Yeah, if Battlefield flops in the same way that Battlefield 2049 did, I think you'd see a downsizing in DICE. But the thing is, DICE does so much work on other EA games
Mhm.
that, like, has goes DICE, has goes EA, essentially.
Right.
I guess what's Respawn doing? Are they making another Jedi game?
Let's find out.
Are they? I've that's right. I also was reading that Apex Legends has been decreasing a lot.
The final
So
chapter of the Star Wars Jedi game.
okay, they are working on that. Okay.
Mhm.
Um. Yeah,
They're also
Respawn
working on
does.
Apex Legends and a
Yeah.
previously announced Star Wars first-person shooter. Oh, that
Okay.
got canceled. That's been canceled.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I was reading something that Apex Legends is also not the cash cow that it used to be. That it's been seeing the player base go down,
Yep.
pretty consistently.
Well, it's live action games.
Yeah,
They're
the live service, it's hard to maintain.
sorry, live service games, even even the best ones are not doing what they used to do.
Yeah. Oh, that actually is a good segue.
Mhm.
Um, Another developer famous for their embrace of live service games, WB,
Mhm.
Multiverses, their Smash Brothers equivalent, is going to shut down in May. That means it's not going to have any more updates, and I believe it is even being delisted. Like they are going full burnt earth.
Yeah. What are you looking up?
Just making sure. So yes, when season 5 ends,
Mhm.
the game will be shut down on May 30th this year.
Mhm.
Online play will come to an end, but players will still be able to access all earned and purchased content offline via the local gameplay and training mode. So it's not going to be delisted, but you will only have local play. You won't be able to play it online.
Mhm.
And remember, this is an online multiplayer game, so that's a bit of a tough thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is another live service game from EA, not EA, WB,
WB.
the other two-lettered
Mhm.
developer, getting shut down on the heels of Suicide Squad. And remember, they were the ones that recommitted. No, we're gonna make more live service games. We're gonna make more. Well,
How's that going for you,
look,
WB?
we're 0 for 2. We know Hogwarts Legacy is 1 for 1. You know, our single player games outsold Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But we're still gonna invest in live service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
We
not
hit a
cool.
home run. We struck out twice, but you know what? We're gonna keep trying to strike out.
We're gonna swing. We're just gonna swing away.
We're gonna swing, yeah. Swing away.
All right. Let's see. My next item. Oh, speaking of, companies going down. Apparently there are talks between Tencent and the Gimo family that they are considering creating a new venture together. So it wouldn't be Ubisoft. It would be an entirely different venture, but it would
It's
include certain Ubisoft assets.
the
So
Tom Clancy
essentially,
license. That's all.
that's what's called jettisoning from a
I
dying company.
well,
Is
I was
there
wondering, is that Yves trying to jettison from a company, or is that Tencent going, look at this ball. This ball is so shiny. Yves, Go get it. Go get it over there. We don't worry about Ubisoft. You can play with your own thing over there. Look, take Tom
No,
Clancy and
no,
go.
no. This is, I would say, take competency and go. I think that this is Tencent, because they've been in talks. Tencent has been in talks of
Mhm.
acquiring more, if not all, of Ubisoft.
Yeah.
I think this is Tencent saying, we don't want Ubisoft.
Oh, you
We
think
want your assets, but
you
we
you
don't
think
want Ubisoft.
you think it's not Tencent trying to get rid of Yves, it's Tencent only taking Yves.
Only
Oh.
taking the assets that they want.
It's
So
not take Tom
essentially,
Clancy and go. It's give us Tom Clancy and screw everything else.
right, give us Tom Clancy, and
Hmm.
then Eve's going, well, I'm not going to give you Tom Clancy. How about this? Why don't you and I start a new company together? We will transfer the assets you want from Ubisoft to this new company, and we'll work on them together. And then Ubisoft will either shut down or we'll sell it to someone else. So they'll have the
Hmm.
name Ubisoft, but we'll have the actual assets. It's essentially the Guillemot family talk about a Hail Mary. This is a Hail Mary of them trying to stay to grab the life, to create a lifeboat for themselves and let the Titanic go down with all the passengers.
I wonder how much of these talks is predicated on seeing what happens with Assassin's Creed. Is
Probably a
this a
lot.
matter is this a matter of we're going to announce a new venture before that game comes out? Or is it let's see how the game does and then we can decide how everything goes?
I think that the Guillemot family is pushing for the former and Tencent is pushing for the latter.
That would make sense.
They don't want to touch it until they know what they've got.
Hmm.
Guillemot family wants to sell before anything fails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so essentially it would be the Guillemot family getting a lifeboat from Tencent, and then trashing Ubisoft. Essentially hollowing it out and then either shutting it down or selling it to someone else.
Yves.
Atariizing it,
Oh yes.
making it just like, we're the new Ubisoft. Yeah, but you don't have any of the Ubisoft games. Well, we've got the name. We're going to turn it into an NFT.
Yves is Kate Winslet and the rest of the company is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, somebody would buy Ubisoft and then they would turn it into a crypto coin, like Atari did.
Mhm. Andrew is here and he asks, why are we towering over Edie? I just got here. Well, Edie actually shrunk a couple inches.
No, the problems with the audio last week have been determined that it was something to do with my laptop. It was not StreamYard. It was my laptop itself. And so I have moved into this is Chris's bedroom computer. And I'm using this. And of course, his screen is a giant screen television instead of actually having a computer screen. And his camera is all the way up there because it's a television. It's not a laptop. So that's why you're towering over me and why I'm using my gaming headset and not my good broadcast headset.
I mean, you still sound good, at least to me.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll do. All right. Moving on because we have a girl child
Okay.
arriving fairly soon.
I have a bunch of like easy short ones.
Okay.
First of all, The Purge continues for Xbox first party games, and Xbox announced that Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PS5.
Okay.
I should have looked up the date of this.
I'll look it up while you go.
I mean, that is the whole story. Is it's coming to PS5. This is just continuing Xbox's, multi-platform shift. I think at this point, I did see
Spring
rumors.
2025. So
Okay, this year. I
sometime
did
in the next
see.
couple of months.
I saw rumors that We also know Indiana Jones is coming out on PlayStation sometime this year.
Hmm.
What's one of the big games that Xbox is coming out with? Fable. I saw
Hmm.
a rumor that Fable is going to be day and date PS5.
Really
That they've gone kind of full multi-platform in the same way that Sega has,
interesting.
where that's it. What everything we do from now on is just going to go out to PlayStation, and so it'll
Very
be
interesting.
interesting to see. Like the shift is complete, and
Hmm.
how long will Microsoft keeps going? Like, no, no, no. We want hardware. We care about hardware.
Sure, we do.
Yeah.
And
Um.
I promise not to come in your mouth.
That's just.
That was a goalie comment.
That was for goalie.
Yeah, that one's for you, dude.
Speaking of Xbox, they had their quarterly earnings.
Chaos just lost his mind. He says, I have no context for that. I'm not going. I don't want to know.
But speaking of Xbox,
Uh-huh.
they had their quarterly earnings, and in it you can kind of expect. They showed Game Pass growth and more hardware losses. Overall, their revenue was like up 2%, and that was driven a lot by Game Pass and Call of Duty. I will say, on this call, the CEO of Microsoft was hyping up Indiana Jones by
Mhm.
saying it had been played by 4 million people. That's an incredible number, right? That's a really
That's
fucking good number.
that's like 3.5 times more than people engaged with
Fairguard.
Railguard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is, I've barely heard people talking about Indiana Jones. And so I wonder, is this the Netflix effect affecting Game Pass? Because Netflix always makes a big deal. Oh, we bought this movie at Sundance, right? Oh, we
Right.
bought this. All these like indie movies that are getting hyped up. They're like, oh, Netflix bought them. Netflix bought them. Where'd they go?
Where
Oh,
are they?
they came out on Netflix 6 months ago, and you never heard about it.
Right.
It's like all of Netflix's movies kind of feel like they're released into this void where
Mhm.
a ton of people probably watch them, but no one talks about them. And so I wonder if that same thing is going to happen to Game Pass games, which is not to say that it's a financial failure, but I'm more curious like where the conversation is. And maybe this is just because Indiana Jones, as I said before, released at a really, really bad time when everyone was talking about game of the year, everyone was talking about previous things, everyone was taking breaks for the holidays. It came out at the perfect moment to get looked over. And so I think it's important to see what happens with Avowed, right? What are the next couple Game Pass games that come out? Avowed, South of Midnight. Uh, how long do people talk about them?
Mhm.
So yeah, but other than that, Xbox is doing exactly what you think they do. Game Pass is doing pretty well, but their hardware just keeps dropping like a rock.
And Chaos says, I think Indiana Jones got more hype than it normally would because the expectations were so low. But that's what Nick's saying is there really isn't any hype. The only hype that's happening is word of mouth of people saying it's a great game.
Yeah, and like it was good, and I'm glad that a lot of people played it.
Hmm.
I would like to see a stat of how many of those 4 million people has played for more than an hour. They
Hmm.
don't need to beat it, but how many people tried it out and then stopped?
Right. Next
Yeah.
item.
Next item. This is a fun one. So the 5090 NVIDIA cards came out, and as you would expect, they got snatched up very quickly by scalpers and bots. Well, eBay users have revolted by basically flooding the market with a bunch of fake listings for the NVIDIA 5090 card that is just a photograph. So if you look at the description, it will say this is just for a photo, or like this is
Mhm.
just for a frame photo. It's not actual card. But there's a bunch of these listings on there because they're just trying to trick bots,
Hmm.
which I'm okay with.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you know what? Flooding the market to interfere with scalpers, I'm okay with that.
We will always be smarter than AI. Everybody talks about that. We are always going to be smarter than AI because we lie and we're clever. We will always be able to do that. Dishonesty. That's the one thing you cannot like program into a system like that. Stupid Nvidia. He's like, yeah, yeah.
You
But you
you
knew that
can't.
was going to happen. Chaos. Why are you upset? This is a known thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it should not come as any surprise to you that these cards aren't available. It wasn't the last 3 iterations of cards, generations of cards haven't been available for years after they've released. So why would that change now? Especially now that these cards are so necessary for AI. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's why Nvidia stock went up, is because the demand for the anticipated demand for Nvidia cards for AI.
yeah.
So instead of it being
Although I don't
crypto
know, China
regardless,
might
it's
have
now
something to
AI.
say about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is that I've heard that there's actually a really, really good article by Drew Magary in the Chronicle, I want to say it was, or maybe it was SF Gate, about how he tested all of the big AI bots out there to see if they would take his job. And he had like a set bunch of questions, several of them having to do with football because he's such a big fan of football. And he wrote an article saying, I checked all the 5 major AI bots to see if I need to worry about my job. I am not worried about my job. And
Hmm.
it's an awesome article about the different responses that he got from different bots.
Who was this again?
Drew Magary,
Drew Mag.
Magary. I believe it's with SF. He might be SF Gate or he might be SF Chronicle. I'm not sure. One of the two.
Okay. Uh, Hal 3000 didn't have a problem with lying.
Yeah, but that was Hal. Also, Hal's not real.
Also, you know what? AI is absolutely good at lying. They just don't even know they're lying. They're so good at lying, they lie to themselves when they hallucinate that they give you a right answer.
True.
The
True.
problem is that they're
Is that they're
too good
really
at lying.
they're really bad at lying because you can see where their lies are.
Hmm.
You can see where their lies. If their lips are moving, they're lying. So anyway, next item.
Okay, next item, my last item, that game that I'm looking forward to, Expedition 33.
Mm-hmm.
It's been optioned off for a movie.
Really? That was fast. It's not even out yet.
Yeah, that was very fast.
Interesting.
So basically, I don't foresee anything coming of this for a very long time. This is just basically they sold the movie rights. Developer Sandfall Interactive partnered with Story Kitchen for the film version. And Story Kitchen just confirmed an adaptation. And Story Kitchen is just like a film producer.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, all they did is they sold the film rights.
Right.
I'm sure Story Kitchen, have you heard of them? I certainly didn't. Probably a young producer who's like, hey, this game looks kind of cool. Let's just buy the options to it before it's out from a new developer, probably relatively cheap options. Let's just get a hold of that so that if it takes
off,
we're in a good position.
yeah, just because something has been optioned doesn't necessarily mean it's ever going to get made.
No. I just
Right
thought it
now.
was funny that this happened so soon before the game's even out, but also that kind of makes sense because I think they're just trying to hedge the bets.
I probably should have taken the option offers I had for Oogie Boogie Speloogie for the film adaptation, but I just really believe that we should hold on to those until after it's released. I mean, it's almost released now.
Yeah. Oh,
It's in QA testing at this point.
Anyone who wants to have those discussions, come talk to me. I will absolutely sell out. I will sell out the second you give me a check. It doesn't. You could give me a check for any amount. You can put a dozen zeros and then the decimal point, and I'm okay. I'm okay. No, put the decimal point, then a dozen zeros. It's fine. I will sell out. Call me.
All right. So anything else?
That's the last
Okay.
that I had.
Well, it is going on now 2 hours and 20 minutes. So, yeah, I should go because, like I said, girl child arriving shortly, I am sure. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And what
He will literally
oh,
betray Edie. They
absolutely.
just have to ask.
It's just, yeah, it's this podcast is the original Among Us. We are all sus.
Oh, oh my god, we still have to play Phasmophobia with
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, we do. We do.
I need to close the door on you as you try to run away.
That's why I don't want to play with you. All right.
That's okay, because then you'll do it to me.
No, I would never do that to you, Nick. No. You're my
should.
friend.
You
I
should.
No, I would help you. You know, I like co-op.
VR only.
No, I don't have VR. All right. On that note, let's close this out.
But
Okay.
there are broader concerns about
Oh, sorry.
Broader concerns about what?
I have no idea what that was. Thank you for listening to GameHounds. You've been listening to GameHounds episode number 772. We recorded this on February 2nd, 2025. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick DiNicola. If you ever want to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record the show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. On Facebook, we are The GameHounds. Facebook.com/GameHounds. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS, all one word, as in videos. And on Twitch, we are The GameHounds. Please join us next week if you are listening to us as a podcast. We would love to have you in live to be able to answer questions and to make comments when I make dirty innuendos and it freaks out chaos. We are 100% Patreon funded. Thank you so much to everyone who gives a little something every week or every month to keep us going. It helps pay for all the subscriptions and all the software that we need to do this. Patreon.com/GameHounds. We would love to have you join us as a Patreon subscriber. And for all of you who are doing that, bless your hearts. Thank you so much. If you would like to talk to people, who are also GameHounds listeners and also us, you can join our Discord. Our Discord is, if you're watching this live, it's right here, there. But if you want to find out where it is, if you're listening to the podcast, go to our website or go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. In the descriptions of the shows, it will have the Discord information. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, please like, subscribe, thumbs up, star it, whatever you need to do. We would appreciate if you did. It makes things much easier for us and much easier for other people to find us because, believe it or not, we really wouldn't mind growing the show after all these years. If you're listening to us as a podcast, please drop us a review. Tell us if you like us. Tell us if you hate us. We would appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nick. We will talk to you next week. AC Ray, thank you so much. Happy birthday, AC Wraith. We love you. You're the best thing about GameHounds, and I really, really appreciate you. Have a wonderful week, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye. Happy birthday. Get permission to eat cake and only drink. At least it was a good soda.
All right. What were you going to say? What were you going to say? That something about permission with sodas? We have permission to drink sodas and eat cake?
Yeah. Ace Ray said we have permission to eat cake in front of me, but only drink mislabeled sodas.
I didn't have any cake. I'm sorry.
But it was a good soda.
I was thinking of sending you a cake, but I realized, I don't really know what you like, and I wasn't really sure if that was okay, so I didn't. But happy birthday, AC Wraith. Thank you.
Yes.
I hope you do have a good weekend, and I hope you have a beautiful birthday because you are a beautiful person, and we love you. Everyone, I got to go because I have a 14-year-old coming back from a volleyball tournament in any minute now. And I need to fix the house because I have been burping and farting and being a gamer all weekend, and I do not want her to see that.
Not
I
that
have
side of you.
Right. I have an image to maintain. I'm actually supposedly, considered
The
at this
adult, the
point to
grown
be
up.
a bit of a role model. I'm supposed to be the grown up, so I would rather her not know
Gotta
that I'm
vacuum up
really
the
not.
chips. You gotta like get rid of the bags.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everyone, have a great week. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
She's not ready.